Apex Legends over the holiday announced their competitive format. We're getting a lot of competition for Apex Legends with a $3 million prize pool. On a scale of 1 to 10, starting with you, Emily, in Los Angeles, how excited are you for Apex Legends competitive in 2020?
I'd put myself at about a 7. I mean, I know that people have ripped apart the Apex scene for being too slow, et cetera, et cetera. I think sometimes it's kind of unfair to expect people to come out with an esport immediately, depending on the size of their development team. That's just me. I like the fact that it's a tournament structure. It kind of has an old feel to it where, you know, you can get a couple of friends together and there's the illusion that you'd be able to qualify, even though obviously me and my 2 friends wouldn't be able to. But I really love the structure of it, and I think they are listening to their community in terms of what the community wanted from it. So, I mean, the jury's still out. We'll see. We'll see if that kind of delay in time and the loss of the initial hype of the game is going to affect how people approach competitive. But in terms of the league structure and the announcements they made, I really like what they're doing.
Jacob?
I'm more like a 5. I think I'm actually really excited for the same tournament format that you mentioned, Emily, just for the fact that I feel like games in that system, we see Call of Duty kind of reverting, and we'll talk about this a little later, reverting to that system a little bit after going a little too far away from it. It's part of what makes these exciting when you have these teams that like run the bracket unexpectedly, right? And they're not sponsored by a big organization in esports. But the problem is it is a little late, and that's what I'm concerned about from an audience perspective, is the fact that we've seen over the past 2.5 years that battle royales generally fall off a cliff after the initial hype, right? So you have PUBG that skyrocketed through, broke Steam records and everything else, fell off the cliff, right? You have Fortnite, who has, because Epic is a AAA developer who I don't think they expected it to be as big as it was. I don't think anybody expected Fortnite to be that big. But they're a AAA developer that has a lot of resources and can make swift moves. And that's the problem with Respawn, is that Respawn, I think, thought that Apex would be big, but not as big as it ended up being. I know Emily said this a second ago, off air, but that's true. I think generally the fact that Respawn is a smaller publisher, even though they are a developer inside of a larger publisher in EA, I think that they didn't expect it to be as fast and they didn't have to react as fast. Also to note, EA has very well documented problems with esports and consistency. The best EA esport, in my opinion, is FIFA, and it's licensed out to other people to do it for them. They rarely do FIFA stuff themselves, right? They do some annual stuff, but the majority of it's like the MLS that is licensed to the MLS to go take care of it, right? Madden Clubhouse has been underwhelming. I don't think they've done a fantastic job with it over the years, and this is kind of par for the course. Albeit, I think Respawn is in a world where EA has had a turbulent couple of years, everything from microtransaction criticism to else, Respawn is definitely the shining light in their house of developers, and that is why you see the Respawn CEO is being elevated at EA as well. That was in the news last week, because he's incredibly successful. I saw like the game titles that he'd worked on, everything from Titanfall to Apex to Jedi Fallen Order. There were several that he worked on not EA related before that too, and has had an incredible long tenure. So I think EA is trying to figure out its identity both in esports and out, and this is Apex and Jedi Fallen Order and Respawn in general have been a good part of that.
Cautious optimism, I think, is a fair statement to make as it pertains to Apex competitive.